guys, it's Desiree. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be filming and everything you need to know before watching my Criminal Minds reactions. Okay, so I filmed this video like 2 or 3 days ago, and for some reason my camera didn't save it, so I'm going to tell you guys what we're doing. So in today's video, I'm going to be just going through every character from season 1 to season 8 of Criminal Minds and giving you guys like my feelings and opinions on them, and also a little bit about the seasons. So I wanted to attach this to the actual reaction to the first video, but when I first filmed this video, it was literally an hour of me just talking. So it's a good thing I didn't, because then you guys would never get to the actual reaction. But I wanted to show you guys, I made a list on my iPad. Can you see that? Hold on. Okay. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but on my iPad, I created a list of things to talk about so that I don't stray off of the topic, because we will be here forever. So I'm going to set up the iPad right here. If you guys see me looking over here, obviously I'm looking at the iPad. I want to try not to stray off, because I don't want us to both have to be here for longer than we would like. Okay, so starting off with season 1 characters, the first person we're going to talk about is Jason Gideon. Now, I said I like him as a person, but all I really remember from him was a lot of staring off and a lot of yelling. And I thought his exit was very shit. I feel like he's known, or at least like I understand if you gave everybody else a letter, but to give Spencer a letter and not to like actually speak to Spencer face to face when he's been Spencer's mentor for a really long time. And obviously Spencer really looks up to him, and he was one of the closest people to Spencer. For him to just give him a letter and like not even acknowledge him, like, you know, like not even giving him the decency of saying it to his face was really messed up. I know that the actor was leaving the show because he said that the show was doing, it like totally like took over his life, which I mean makes sense. Like a lot of like, I don't think people are like, oh, they're just actors, like whatever, but a lot of the topics that shows go over and actors have to go through just to get into that mindset is a lot, and it can affect your mental health. So I understand that the actor had to leave, but I feel like they had a lot of time from him leaving that they could have made his going out, like, you know, smoother. So the next person is Aaron Hotchner, or Hotch. I don't think I ever call him by his first name, so I'm just going to refer to him as Hotch. I feel like Hotch is just way too serious. Like, I love Thomas, who plays Aaron Hotchner. I've seen like little clips of interviews from him, and he seems like such a cool, funny person, and I wish they would have made Hotch, like, at least like giving him more of like a personality. Like, I wish like they would have made him crack jokes here, like a lot more, smiled a lot more, laughed a lot more. Like, I understand he's the unit chief, so he has to like keep that like idea of like strong, never lets anything break him, da 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 da. But he could have easily done that and still like had fun. So the next person on our list is Elle Greenaway. Greenaway, I don't remember exactly how to say her name, but we all know who I'm talking about. My queen. I absolutely love Elle. We will not take any Elle slander over here, okay? I absolutely love Elle. I love the character, and I love how she was very like witty, and like she could totally like get down with Derek as far as like when he would say something, she'd say something back without hesitation. But she was also very soft, like when she was talking with Spencer and stuff. Oh, I said one thing I said was the fandom needs to stop shitting on her. So when I started watching the show, somehow I fell into Criminal Minds TikTok, and I've been there for a while, and I still kind of am there. And I've noticed a lot of like not even just like a lot of TikTokers from the Criminal Minds fandom, but I just noticed like a lot of the Criminal Minds fandom doesn't like Elle, and I don't understand why. Like, I absolutely love Elle. I thought she was really, really good. And honestly, her and Spencer would have been the cutest couple. Oh my god, it should have happened. It should have happened. And I wish that Elle stayed on the show, because her and Emily Prentice, oh, the power that those two would have had. They would have ran the whole show. The whole freaking show. Oh, and one thing I have to ask you guys to let me know is, can somebody tell me why Lola, which is the actress who plays Elle, decided to leave the show? I don't know if she decided to leave the show, or if the show decided to leave, or like, I mean, the show decided to drop her as an actress, but I really want to know why she ended up leaving the show. And honestly, like, I understand why people don't care for her storyline, because she, you know, was so good, and then this thing happened, and then it kind of like went bad. I'm actually gonna put up a TikTok like right now as I'm talking, like, read the words. I'm not gonna put the audio, but I feel like people tend to forget she went through a really traumatic experience. Like, she literally got stabbed and was still conscious when the guy was taking her blood out of her body and writing it on the wall. Like, I don't think people are understanding how much of a big effect that has on somebody. Like, I understand because we're like, oh, it's TV, you can brush it off, but like, her character like went through that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's obviously it's gonna affect her and it's gonna change her. So the next person on my list is Derek Morgan. Now, I said at first he had no, and y'all can't lie to me, he had no personality besides flirting and looking good. Like, the first season, I mean, obviously he's a good agent. Like, don't get me wrong, Derek Morgan's a good agent. But I feel like a lot of, like, they wrote him in to be, like, the hot guy of the show. Like, oh my god, he's so cute. Like, I'm not even listening to what he's saying. He's just super cute. And I mean, yeah, Shamar's cute. But in the beginning, they really didn't give him, like, any much, or I could say, like, interesting storyline to me. But I love, as the season went on, his storyline developed. Like, I don't remember exactly what season or what episode it is when he goes back to Chicago and he like gets arrested, like accused for murder, and the team has to come and clear his name. And that's the episode that we learn a lot about Derek and like his childhood and what he went through and that stuff. If you know, you know. Honestly, if you have not watched from season 1 to season 9, you probably should not watch this video because it's going to be some spoilers. Probably should have said that in the beginning, but yeah, so I liked how we started to develop his storyline there. And besides, like, you know, we actually started giving his character, like, a storyline besides being a pretty face in the corner. And what else did I say? Oh, I love his and Penelope's friendship. The cutest friendship in the entire series, period. Nothing could top them. Nothing could top them. Okay, so the next person we're talking about is Spencer Reid, my husband. I love Spencer Reid. I love his sarcasm, like his witty, like, responses. And he's just, like, hilarious. Oh, he's gone through so much. Like, from season 1 to, I guess you could say the beginning of season 9, he has gone through so freaking much, okay? Like, we know that, like, he had to, when he was 18, sign his mom over to a facility, a treatment facility. His dad left him, so that left a really big impact on him. Spencer's the type, I feel like Spencer's the type that, like, when he has, when he meets somebody that's, like, very, like, dominant, he clings on to them as, like, a father figure or, like, a mother figure, just like a parent, kind of. So then Gideon left, because he did that with Gideon, and then Gideon left, and that messed him up, and Elle left, and that also messed him up, because he took the blame for that. And then in season 8, Maeve died in front of him, and that sucks. Like, he's gone through so much, and it's only been 9 seasons, or, well, yeah, so far 9 seasons for me. I do know that by the end of the series, Spencer does not end up with somebody. I think, like, at the end of season 15 or whatever. I know he doesn't end up getting into a, like, long-term relationship. I wish that the writer, like, I understand he saw his first love get shot and died in front of him. But feel like he would have eventually moved on. Like, the years had gone by, and obviously he would never forget about her. And obviously, if he had kids, which he should have had kids, he honestly should have had a wife and kids, 2 kids, by the end of the series. He definitely would have told them about Maeve, you know, cutting out the whole how she died part. But I don't know, I feel like they should have written him a love interest, and we could see Spencer have some sort of happiness. Oh, and I just love, one thing I also put on here is I love Matthew's directing. I've seen, like, Mosey Lane is one of my favorite episodes, and I do have a list on my iPad of, like, specific episodes, that I've got from TikTok that are really good. Or, like, I have a list of episodes that Matthew's directed, a list that, like, Kristen's, like, she wrote some episodes. I have some that Thomas has directed, and some that, who else directed? I think Joe directed. I have, like a list of shows. If you guys know any episodes, even if I already have it on the list, like, if you have any episodes, comment them down below, because I love to, like, keep an eye out for episodes like that, like, one of the cast members actually, like, wrote or directed. So the next person on our list is Agent Jennifer Giroux, aka JJ. Now, like Morgan, when I first started this series, okay, this is gonna sound actually really, really bad. When I first started the series and we met JJ, I was like, she's kind of useless. I'm sorry, I had to say it. And you can't lie to me, she was very useless. They only brought her in to introduce a case, and then they would peek her in every once in a while when she had to do, like, a press conference. That was it. Oh, and I'm not gonna lie, when her and Elle, if I could find the scene where they meet each other for the first time, I'm gonna put it up. But when her and Elle met each other for the first time, and she, like, she walked up to Elle and she was like, "Hi, I'm JJ," or, you know, whatever. I honestly was like, oh, the sexual tension, that's gonna be a relationship. That's gonna be a relationship. Little did I know that JJ's actually straight, and she gets married, like, later on in the series. Oh yeah, and so I feel like right when her character started to, like, pick up, like, I was starting to actually, like, get interested and invested into her storyline, she had to go on leave. But I do know that AJ Cook was pregnant at the actual time that JJ was pregnant. So obviously, like, she had to take her, what's it called? Maternity leave. So I was excited when she came back, you know. I was like, yes, we are going to, you know, we're going to see JJ, like, we're going to pick up from where we left off. Her story's going to get better, like, whatever. And then she came back, and obviously, like, I know when you become a mom, like, it changes you as a person, like, especially when you do a job like that where you see, like, a lot of, like, kids, and, like, you can see a lot of what people in the world that you just brought your kid into can do, like, really some terrible stuff. And I understand it affects you a lot more when you become a parent. But I feel like they took her storyline right when it was starting to build up and threw it in the trash. Like, just threw it in the trash and was like, no, we're going to just give her this kind of boring storyline. Like, a lot of the times I felt like she was, and obviously, like, cases with kids are very, very hard, but I feel like it would be like they'd have a case about a kid, 5 cases would go by, and she would still be thinking about this case about this one kid, and we're like, okay, JJ, we're all over here now. We need you to come back to us. So I'm not gonna lie, I did get a little annoyed with her. So going into, I put 2, like, supporting characters. I talked about Haley Hotchner and Diana Reed. I'm just gonna, like, go through them. So Haley, I thought she was boring, and I thought she was annoying because she always, okay, hear me out. I thought she was annoying because she always wanted Hotch to quit her job. And it's a known fact that Hotch and Haley knew each other in high school. Like, they were high school sweethearts, got married, had Jack, whatever. She knew what she was getting herself into when he said he wanted to sign up for the FBI. And she was down for it. And obviously I understand, like, you have a kid. Like, I totally see where she's coming from. Like, we have a kid now, and he knows basically nothing about you. He sees you every 2 days out of the week. He has, like, no relationship with you. So I understand why she wanted him to come home a lot. But I feel like she wasn't doing it the right way because she was guilt-tripping him a lot of the time, which was causing him to resent her. And I think it's pretty obvious that sis was cheating, because if you go back to this one scene, I think I'm going to put it up if I can find it again, where Hotch is on leave. I forgot why he was on leave, but he was on leave for a little bit, and the BAU calls him and they're like, we need your help, and she's like, you're on leave, you're about to take a desk job, like, you need to be around for your kid, and whatever, they're arguing, and then the phone goes off, and Hotch, like, declines the call, and then all of a sudden, the phone in her purse goes off, and then it's like, they both look at the purse, and then they look back at each other, and they just keep the conversation going on. Like, it was like little subtle things where it was like, oh, she's cheating. But besides that, I think she's a good mom, and I feel like she would be a really good friend. Okay, next character I talk about, Diane Reed, Miss Sue Sylvester. When I first saw her, I was like, that's Sue Sylvester. But I love Diane. We must protect her. Her husband's a piece of trash. And one thing I said is I love how I get to see this actress in a new light, because I've really only seen the actress that plays Diane in Glee, which is why I was like, Sue Sylvester. But I love how seeing her in this show, I get to see her in like a more happier light, because Sue Sylvester is very serious and rude and scary. So getting to see her as like a soft, like, you want to put her in your pocket, I love that. Okay, so now we're going on to the season 2 cast. Now, the first person I put down was Miss Erin Strauss, motherfreaking period. This might be an unpopular opinion to the fandom, but I personally like Erin. I know a lot of people did not like her because she got in the way of the BAU doing a lot of their stuff, but again, unpopular opinion, that is one of the things that I liked that she did. I think that's one of the things that caused me to really like her, was the fact that she would get into, like, weave herself into the BAU issues. I mean, like, sometimes, obviously, like, it was annoying. It was like, okay, Erin, like, take a step back, like, sit in the corner. But I feel like what I loved about Erin's character was she was there to always remind the BAU, like, hey, you guys are up here, and you need to bring it down to, like, right here. Like, you guys think you have all these privileges, but you're really, like, down here. Because I do say, like, I feel like with shows where, like, it's like a firefighter show, we're following one main group, or a police show, we're following one main group. I feel like this main group that we're following, looking out on an outsider's point of view, they tend to forget that they are not above everybody. Like, as much as I love the BAU, I will admit that they like to override a lot of the rules, and they like to break rules, and they like to do stuff that they're not supposed to, or stuff that they shouldn't do, to be honest, sometimes, which I will get to in a little bit. And I love how Erin was always there to remind them, hey, you can't do that. Like, just because you guys have a good reputation doesn't mean you can, like, override everything that we're telling you to do, Okay, so 2 more people we got in season 2 was Will, who plays JJ's husband, and also an officer. I love Will. He is such a sweetheart, such a freaking sweetheart. But I cannot understand him for the life of me without subtitles. I mean, I already put subtitles on everything that I watch, but especially when he comes on the screen and he starts talking, it's like really looking at the subtitles, because it's so hard to kind of understand what he says, because his accent's so thick and southern, and I love him, and we must protect him. Yes. The last person that we got, like the last new main-ish person that we got of season 2, is Miss Emily Prentice. So this season, Lola, who plays Elle, had left, and then we got Emily. And I'm not gonna lie to you, the first couple, like 2-3 seasons after we got Emily, I did not trust her. I did not like her. Something about her when she came in, it was just like, I don't like you. I'm not like, I don't trust you, which means I don't really care for you. So I do like how, even though when she came in, we did get a couple episodes of we got like an episode-ish of just the team, like just them without her, and then they like started to integrate her in later on. And honestly, my suspicions were right, because then we found out that she was working with Strauss on the low, like feeding information back to Strauss, because Strauss wanted to get Hotch, like, taken off the job, like taken off his position. And I was like, well, see, and I almost, see, at that point I had almost started trusting her, I almost started liking her, and then I was like, see, it's a good thing that I didn't get attached, because when I found out, I was ready to fight. I was ready to fight. And I remember I was watching that specific episode with my mom. And when Hotch had gone to her apartment to talk to her, and I was like, yo, why is he, like, not, like, what? Is it just me? Am I the only one making a big deal out of this? Like, Mom was like, you have to understand, she told Strauss that she's not gonna feed her any information anymore. I was like, I don't give a flying freak if she told Strauss that she's not gonna give her any more information anymore. She was still giving her the information. Therefore, I don't trust her right now. I was like, I'm sure as the seasons go on, I will like her, but then I was like, no. Well, I mean, now I like Emily. I do. As the seasons went on, she's like, took my heart. She's like the cool mom. Like, she's the mom you can go to if you want to talk to him and drink alcohol. Like, she's that mom. So, yeah, my suspicions were right. Like I said, I think Emily Prentice, or Pageant Brewster, is gorgeous and hilarious. Like, lines just hit like nothing. I think, unpopular opinion, well, not really unpopular, actually. A lot of people in the fandom do think what I think, but I think her and Hotch should have dated. The power that those two would have had together. Unmatched, period. Yeah, I think they should have dated. It would have been amazing. She would have been a good stepmom. Well, I think she would have been a good stepmom. I feel like she has a good soft spot for Jack. Anyways, the last thing that I said, the fandom seems to forget that Emily Prentice is Elle's replacement, not the other way around. Because I see a lot of people sometimes, like I said, shitting on Elle and holding Emily to a higher ranking. I think we need to stop bashing Elle and stop comparing her to Emily, and vice versa. Okay, now season 3, I had marked in season 3 and 4, because I don't think those characters really changed that much. So I marked on the side episode 422, which is the big wheel. So freaking sad. I remember I rewatched that episode twice within one day, the first day that I had seen it. Because I watched it and then I made my mom watch it and we were both sad. I was such a good episode. And episode 3, 4, I forgot the name of the episode, but the boy in there broke my heart. So, season 3, this is when David Rossi, my father, came in. I freaking love David, unmatched. Obviously, I love him on a different level than I love some other people. I said, I feel like he's the cool uncle that you could smoke with and drink with. I just feel like he's like I'm going to go to my uncle's house. We're going to go drink and smoke and just talk crap. And I can tell him everything. Well, actually, I feel like he'd find out everything before I even have to tell him. But he'd still let me tell him, even though he already knows. So, also, 2, side characters we got was Kevin, who plays Penelope's boyfriend, and Jordan, who was JJ's replacement, maternity leave replacement. Quickly about Jordan, I feel like her and Derek would have been the cutest freaking couple. I wish that was a thing. Even if it was for a little bit, I just wish it was a thing. And I'm really glad with her storyline. We kind of got to see an agent come into the FBI, do JJ's job, put Hotch in his place by telling him he needs to start appreciating JJ because she does a lot for the team, and he never really appreciates her. And I love how, even though at the end it's very stressful, it's a lot to come into. I love how she decided that this isn't something that she wants to pursue, so she decided that she was going to take a step back and work on I think she said a desk job in the FBI or something like that. So I'm glad we really got to see that, even though she was a short-lived character. Kevin, I think he was adorable. Also kind of useless because we only ever see him whenever Penelope needs somebody to help her speed up the process. So that was really the only time we saw him. And if I'm being completely honest, I would forget that Penelope's in a relationship. She would do something and I'd be like, ooh, get it, girl. I just in general forgot that she was in a relationship. And then Kevin would come in every once in a while and I'd be like, oh, I forgot she had a boyfriend. I thought she was single. Anyways, that's that on that. Season 5, we had the same cast, no new people, but I said this season was a really good season. I said Mosey Lane was one of my favorite episodes, super, super sad. Oh, and one of the best unsubs that we've had on so far, at least so far from where I am in the series, is the Reaper. He really had us, okay, when we had that whole episode and he was the quote-unquote victim, when he was the victim, and then we end up finding out that actually he was the killer, and actually he did that to himself, and then we put him in jail, and he broke out, and we spent like the rest of the season trying to figure out where he was, and then he came back to get revenge on Hotch and killed Haley. Now, I am not a crier. I know it may seem it like in my reactions, like I cried for like Shameless and what else did I? 30 Reasons Why. I know it does seem like through my reactions I cry a lot, but if you like know me in person, you know I do not cry. Like, I'm not an emotional kind of person. Not gonna lie, I didn't cry when Haley died. We didn't know much about her. You can't fault me for that. And I mean, it was sad when they were in the car and like Hotch could like, you know, like they were on the phone, he was crying. Everybody was on the phone, basically. And they could hear her getting killed. That was really sad. But I didn't cry, so I'm sorry. Also, we got a long-haired Reed this season. And, so freaking... I know a lot of people don't like Season 5 Reed, but, I think Season 5 Reed's one of my favorite Reeds. Because he just looks so good with that long hair and... anyways. Oh, and I said that episode 523, Darkest Hour, was sad. Okay, moving on to season 6. I said, oh, this is the season that AJ leaves. That JJ leaves and Emily leaves this season. Emily leaves like later in the season, but I do know that I think the first time that they both, I think this time, season 6, when they left, was because of budget cuts. I believe I had seen like a snippet of an interview that Pageant was in, and she said that the first time that they got written off in season 6 was because they needed a budget cut or whatever. So the only new person we got on this season was Ashley Seaver. Now, this is going to be a very big unpopular opinion, but I like Seaver. I know a lot of people do not like Seaver, and I mean, I understand like she was kind of annoying with the whole like my father's a serial killer like every episode. Like the first couple times it was like, okay, whatever, like you're just relating to the people, but then after a while it was like, okay, I understand your father was a serial killer, but like you can't let that hinder you from doing your job. Like go do your job, you know. But again, I don't see why the fandom likes her. Like, why the fandom does not like her. Because I understand, like, JJ left and, like, everybody loves JJ. Like, that was, like, a big thing. But I know that, like, Ashley never ended up coming back because the actress, like, the fandom, like, hated the actress so much that they had to end up writing her off the show by the end of the season. And that's just, like, crazy to me. Like, I understand, like I said, I understand her character was annoying with the whole my dad's a serial killer. But I feel like we didn't get to see that much of her storyline. So for the fact that people were, like, shitting on her so much that, like, the show had to write her off before we even got to see her actual storyline was kind of sad of the fandom to do that. Because it's like, I feel like as the season's gone on, we probably could have learned so much more about Seaver, and we probably would have honestly liked her a lot. But I feel like y'all didn't give her a chance. So now we will never know what could have been Ashley Seaver. Anyways, going on to season... Oh, and this season, I'm sorry, totally forgot, almost forgot to say it. This season, Emily gets killed. I don't really know... Well, technically, because we find out later in the season, technically we find out that she did end up dying for like 3 minutes, but then they revived her. So, this season was also another good unsub. 2 good unsubs back to back. Because we had Ian Doyle, and we learned a lot about Emily's background in this. Like, pre-BAU, we learned that she was, I believe, a CIA agent. She was undercover. Trying to take down Doyle for years, and then right as she was closing in on the deal, something happened, and then they had to call her off, and immediately she started working for the BAU. So literally right after she came off that case, she, like, the next day was at the BAU. So we got to learn with why she was so, like, whenever stuff would happen, like, it wouldn't faze her or anything like that. And we learned a lot about her past, and that was really cool. she does get kidnapped and a plank through her body and dies. Or so we thought. When she gets to the hospital, Hotch and JJ are the only ones that find out that she did die for like 3 minutes, but then they revived her. And because Ian had gotten away, they had to make sure that everybody knew that she died, which in a sense, from like a professional point, really does make sense. Like, this man's trying to kill her, so we need him to know that she's dead. So she ended up going to London for a while, and JJ was like keeping in contact with her, very secretive. Moving on to season 7, we find out that Emily's not dead. Hey. I think it was like the first-ish episode of season 7. It was like around the beginning of season 7, where Derek had taken the death. Like, I feel like Derek took the death the hardest because of 2 reasons. 1, because he was the one that saw her get stabbed. And 2, I know in a Criminal Minds deleted scene that there was a whole scene between, or a whole conversation between Derek and Spencer about how he could never be with Emily because Emily's like not the kind of girl that like can be caught or something like that. I don't know. Basically, Derek and Emily were supposed to be each other's love interests, but then they decided to cut that like whole storyline out, which honestly sucked because either way I would have been happy whether she was with Hotch or she was with Derek. Either way I would have been happy. So yeah, he took it the hardest. He started looking for Ian on his free time and ended up finding him, but he was not talking. So JJ and Hotch made the decision to call Emily to come back, and the team found out, and not gonna lie, I feel like everybody accepted her, like forgave her like super fast, except for Morgan. It took like the rest of that episode and like half of the episode after that. And Spencer, it took Spencer a couple episodes to get over it. I feel like in the moment he was like, he had gotten over it because they needed to finish the case. But the second that the case was done, Spencer was not having any of it. And honestly, same. Like, obviously she can't control the fact that she had to go undercover. But knowing me, I'm the type of person that, like, if you get mad at me and in 2 seconds, or, like, you yell at me, you get mad at me, and 2 seconds later, you're trying to apologize, like, no. Now I'm mad. Now I need the rest of this day to be mad. You have to come back to me another day, or, like, in a couple days when I can, like, be in a clear sense of head, if that even makes sense. And I can think back on what I'm, like, try to forgive you, you know? Like, I need, like, a couple days to, like, let it sink in, let me, like, see what was really happening, and yada, yada, yada. Anyways, I agree with Spencer for taking as long as he took to forgive Emily. Even if I forgave Emily, I feel like, knowing me, I probably still would have made, like, little sly comments about it, like, here and there, and she would probably get the silent treatment from me for quite some time. Like, I would probably only talk to her unless it's about a case. Everything else I'm probably not going to talk to her about for a little bit. Okay. Oh, one thing I said that I didn't like about this was that they made Spencer more mad at JJ than he was at Emily. Or like Hotch. Like, Emily and Hotch in his eyes were like off the hook. Like, Emily, he was mad at for like 2 seconds. They had that little talk in the cafe and he was like fine. But JJ, he took it out on JJ for absolutely no reason. Like, I mean, he had said like he had showed up at her place like every single day and was just crying for hours. And honestly, I do agree with him. Like, I feel like they should have told Spencer, because if there's anybody that you could tell, it would be Spencer, and he would not say anything. But apparently that they didn't think that. I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, I feel like Spencer shouldn't have taken it out on JJ that hard, because it wasn't her fault. She was doing what was best for the team and best for her friend's life. Season 8, the last season, right before season 9, starting with this season, they did Spencer so dirty. Beyond dirty, okay? I said, seriously, give him a break. And I feel like they showed his grieving process, like, so quick. Like, obviously, like, the episode after Maeve died, like, we picked up, like, a couple weeks later, so he was, like, still in his like depressive state. But that by the end of that episode, he ends up going back to the team because Morgan like would call him in and be like, hey, can you like let me know what you think of this and this, to try to like get him to kind of get back to normal. And honestly, I thought after they had finished that case, he was gonna actually like take a little more time, maybe go see a therapist, yada yada yada. But then it was just like he went from case to case to case to case to case and never really stopped. And I feel like and like obviously like every once in a while somebody would like mention something, he would be like, Maeve, and then like he would shut down for like 2 seconds, but then he'd like reboot and he'd be fine. I feel like though that for his I feel like obviously that's super traumatic, and the one thing that the show does not do is show these people going through therapy. As far as like shows like, okay, like Grey's Anatomy, I know a lot of people compare this show to Grey's Anatomy because they're two like really big shows that are like always like, they're two of the biggest shows that has the longest the longest amount of seasons. And at least with Grey's Anatomy, like when they'd go through like traumatic experiences like the plane crash, or like I forgot what it was that Meredith had gone through, they showed the characters going through therapy and like their therapy sessions and like sessions. I feel like they should have done that with Spencer. I feel like it would have been super like intriguing to sit through some of his therapy sessions and like get to hear more about like him as a person, his childhood, and how he actually is feeling, because a lot of the times we cover up how he is feeling. It would have been nice, you know. And this season we got my other favorite freaking character, Alex Blake. I love Alex Blake. If I'm being honest, she is probably like the best replacement for Emily Prentiss, because she has like a bit of Emily Prentiss in her, but she takes like that tiny bit of Emily Prentiss and puts it into her own Blake way. Period. I love her. She's super funny, no flaws. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought she was gay. I truly, honestly, really did think she was like a gay elder. And then they told us that she was married, and then they brought her husband in, and I was like, oh, she's straight. Okay. I love Blake. I really do. I love Blake. I think she's hilarious. I hope if Emily comes back because she's in London now. I hope if she comes back from London, we get to see, a Blake Emily teamwork. Yeah. Oh, and another question I had asked for you guys to tell me was, why did Pageant leave at this time? Because I know at the beginning of the season, like I said, when AJ left, Pageant also left because it was like a budget cut thing, but I want to know why she left this season also. And I do know that like in the later seasons, I do know that Hotch ends up leaving, or Thomas ends up leaving, and like season like 15, 14, like those seasons, I do know that Emily takes over as unit chief. So one thing I said about this season was also that this season had a really good unsub, but the ending was very dissatisfying. I honestly, not gonna lie, I thought this was one of like the best unsubs, because he was an FBI agent and very, very like high knowledge. Like I loved how he was following them out throughout the entire season, and he he had gone to that ball thing that Morgan was going to, stole the cup. He was in Blake's class. He freaking was stalking Spencer. Was he stalking Spencer that season? Yeah, he was. He was stalking Spencer that season. Like he had tabs on every single body. And I feel like he was such a good unsub that honestly, like, if they would have not caught him, I would honestly, like, season 9, like, it would have been cool to, like, see him messing with them. It was just really, really, like, dissatisfying, like, that, and, like, we're gonna get into it, like, very quickly, because my throat is hurting, but, where do I want to start? So, yeah, what got me mad was this man has, like, the craziest amount of technology. Like, he was even tripping up Penelope, okay? And Penelope is really freaking hard to trip up. But he had her, like, doing tricks and flips. And he had everybody on their toes. And then finally, when we got to the episode where they were going to capture him, like finally figure out who it is, we found out that he was going to blow them up in his house. And somehow he came back into the house and Rossi did like a trick on him. And he got locked in the house when the house blew up. I thought that was the terrible ending. Such a terrible ending. Because, I'm going to tell you now, I feel like Criminal Minds, like, they do so good with, like, we get an unsub that's going to, like, torment the team throughout the entire season or, like, the entire episode. And, like, they're having a really hard time catching this person. And, like, they're building up the suspense. We're all, like, leaning in. And then it comes to, like, the last 10 minutes of the episode. And they're like, oh, we really don't have an end game on how we're going to capture this unsub. But the episode or the season's coming to an end, so we gotta do it like right now. So in like the last 10 minutes of a show, that's they take that time to kill off the unsub, and it is like some of the stupidest stuff that they do. Like, you may tell me this FBI agent, highly technical FBI agent, died because he went back into his house for what? And then, okay, also one thing that really got me mad about this episode was going back on what I said earlier about how what I loved about Erin was she always put the team in their place. If you go back and watch that episode, when they are, when they're at the guy's house because he had captured Blake, and the guy, we find out that he had locked them in, and the guy was actually standing outside with the local police. This is what I mean by the BAU thinks. I'm not like thinks, but like they don't think sometimes, okay? They really don't. You mean to tell me we're gonna go catch this man, but us group of like, I don't know, 5 or 6 people know what the unsub looks like. But the 20-30 police officers over there do not know what this man looks like. But it's fine because we're gonna catch him. It's fine because we're gonna catch him. They don't need to know what he looks like. If they would have told the police, the local police that was helping them catch this man, what he looked like, we would have caught him a lot quicker in the episode. And then he actually would probably still be alive, and he would be keeping it very interesting. But because they didn't, like, if I'm not even mistaken, like, one of the officers was talking to the unsub, and he was like, oh, hey, doo-doo-doo-doo. And I feel like if the BAU would have given out his information to everybody else, they would have, obviously, somebody would have arrested him right there. But they didn't. And that's why that man didn't get arrested. So that is those are my thoughts on everything that has happened from season 1 to season 8. With that being said, I'm going to go because my throat hurts so bad and I have the only cotton mouth right now and I want to film one more video. So I will see you guys in the first episode of season 9. Bye!